Hey, today we are talking about everything Apple announced in their March 8th event. Let's get into it. So first things first, Apple started off with their trailer of all the new shows and movies that are coming to Apple TV+. And then along with that, they also announced their Friday Night's Baseball event. After all of the TV Plus highlights, they announced two new colors for their iPhone 13 and 13 Pro lineup. They came out with a green for the iPhone 13 and then an alpine green for their 13 Pro. And I know that green has been kind of a fan favorite color for a lot of people. Now, I was surprised to see a new and updated iPhone SE. Now, it's still holding the same hardware design with the rounded edges, the Touch ID screen. They updated the camera on this new one, but it's the same form factor as the previous iPhone SE, but now A15 Bionic chip is now hitting this lineup. So it's going to be interesting to see how the A15 Bionic chip matched in with all the hardware updates that they provided, especially with the updated camera, some things that are going to be drawing a little bit more power now, how that battery life is going to be holding up with the rest of their lineup. But the SE is a fan favorite for anyone who is looking to upgrade their older iPhones. Now, Apple has long owned the tablet marketplace, and they continue to do so again this year with adding their M1 chip to the iPad Air. But iPad Air has got M1, it's got a couple of updates as well. It does support Smartfolio, does support Smart Keyboard now, so you do have the option of getting a trackpad and a full-sized keyboard with your iPad, and it does support Apple Pencil 2, which is really exciting for a lot of people who are trying to get into the tablet marketplace. They don't know, maybe they don't have an iPad, but they kind of like the idea of having a tablet. These lower models with exceptional software updates like the M1 chip is really exciting for a lot of those people because they can have the access to this amazing software, but not at the price of an iPad Pro. Finally, getting into some of the big boy stuff that Apple was announcing, we have an M1 silicon chip update, as well as an update to their higher end computing systems. So they were lining up all the M1 chips together, and I had just tweeted right before they announced their updated chip, and I was just calling it M1 Ultra. It just seemed like the next name in the lineup, and I wasn't really sure. I didn't hear any rumors that they're going to update the chip. Basically combining two M1 Max silicon chips together through some awesome computing engineering that they did, and they're basically combining the power, and it's doubling the power of a regular M1 Max chip, which is a little insane to think about, that they are at a point where they're almost doubling their fastest chip in a matter of 6 months, I guess. I think when, that's what it seems like, like they came out with the M1 Pro and the M1 Max not too long ago for their MacBook Pro updates and refreshes. And then all of a sudden, this next update, not even 8 months later, they combined the M1 Max to bring us the M1 Ultra, which is just crazy computing power that you can think of. And with that, they also brought in the Mac Studio, which is going to be utilizing this M1 Ultra with a bunch of I/O refreshes, a nice desktop setup, clean setup, and along with the Mac Studio computing system, they also brought in the Studio Display, which I'm kind of surprised about with these prices. I know a lot of people were excited about the Ultra and the Mac Studio lineup and then the Studio Display, and I was really excited to really see that it wasn't priced as much as we were thinking it was going to be, because they brought out the Mac Pro a couple years ago, and to max that out and to do everything, it was like $17,000. The wheels for that were like $1,000. It was just crazy to see the prices that they were doing with an older Intel system based and graphics card system based. But now with these M1 chips and Apple Silicon, it's completely revolutionized the computing system and pricing at a very affordable rate for what they are. And especially with the hardware that they're coming with, and the computing power is just mind-blowing faster, and the power efficiency that you can get out of these chips is just absolutely insane that you can get for this price, right? So I've been thinking about getting a MacBook Pro 16-inch M1 Max, decked out and everything, and that was going to be about $6,000 or so. But just to see that an M1 Max Mac Studio starts at $4,000 with 1 TB of storage. And to think that it starts at $4,000 is actually a pretty affordable price. Now, obviously, I haven't seen the price with the Ultra and the extra storage and everything like that, but I don't think even just the Mac Studio maxed out is probably going to get you to a point of even $10,000. But just to think that you can get this much computing power for less than $8,000 is pretty exciting. And then the Studio Display as well, coming in at $1,500. I mean, to get a really good display is about that price. I am really excited about to get. I'm probably not going to get it anytime soon, but it's really exciting that you can get this quality and caliber of display for your visually intensive hobbies or professions that you have. And it's really cool just to get that at that price point. So really excited about all of this new stuff, this new tech, the Mac Studio, the Studio Display, and everything that is coming down from Apple at these price points. It's pretty exciting. And the computing that you can do with some of this stuff is super exciting. That is everything that Apple has announced. They did put in a little teaser for their, I think it's just a regular Mac, because at the end he said that this basically almost completes our whole Apple computer lineup except for one more item. And so I'm assuming that that's going to be announced at the next Apple event later on this year. I think in Techtober, right? October, November area. And so that's going to be exciting to see what they're going to do with that computer along with this newly announced Mac Ultra. Now, I'm just kind of, speculating here, but it's probably not even going to happen. But I'm just making fun of these M1 chip names as they're going to go along. Since they combined an M1 Max and, two of those to make an M1 Ultra, at some point, maybe they might come out with an M1 Extreme, combining two, 3 Maxes or 4 Maxes maybe. Who knows? But really, we're at a point where Apple is basically doubling their computing power with these silicon chips almost in less than a year, which is just mind-blowing what we're at right now and the technology that we have at our disposal. So it's really exciting stuff. So that is all my reactions and all my thoughts about the Apple event and some just announcements and bring them to you concisely for what was going on at the Apple event if you don't want to watch the whole thing. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.